Everything that you've learned about marketing your e-commerce store is not going to work this year. And that's because there's been a huge generational shift in the way that people are responding to advertisements. We've moved our brands and we've seen lots of other large brands moving to the newer marketing strategies this year and seeing amazing results because they know that what was working last year is not going to work this year. And in this video, I'm going to show you 5 of the newest and most effective marketing strategies that you need to implement this year if you want to grow your e-commerce business. I'll even show you how AI has changed everything. And if you stick around to the end, I'm going to give you the marketing framework that we use on all of our stores to help us grow consistently over the entire year. So what is it that's actually changed? Well, over the last few years, every e-commerce guru that you know has been talking about how paid ads are the only way to grow your e-commerce business. Now, this is a huge mistake right now because if you only have this one e-commerce channel, then it means you've effectively only got a single customer, and that customer is your paid ads channel. And what we call that is a key platform risk. Let me show you on my iPad what I mean by this. So you've got your customers over here. And typically what we do is we attract those customers using paid ads. And if all goes well, those paid ads turn into sales. The problem is, if we just continue to drive people through to paid ads and we just turn this over and over and over again, what happens if this goes away? It means that we're going to have unhappy customers. Or we're not going to have any customers at all, which means we're not going to have a business. Let me tell you a story about a member that recently joined our e-commerce academy. When he first joined us, he was heavily leveraged in meta ads. And what I mean by that was 80% of his revenue was generated from the ad platform. Now, what had happened was an agency that he was working with got hacked and it compromised his ad account, which means Meta shut it down. And what that meant was that he had no ads running for his account for 4 weeks. And his business was doing about $150,000 to $200,000 a month. So can you imagine if his meta ads, which was 80% of his income, was shut down for 4 weeks, how much that cost him? It cost him about $120,000. And that's what we call key platform risk. That one platform was the only place he was relying on. And if that goes away, his business goes away. So that's why this strategy not only reduces key platform risk, but it helps spread our traffic across multiple channels, which means we not just spread the risk, but we also multiply the amount of traffic we're coming in, growing our business exponentially. What we've also noticed is that customers are much more ad aware, and I'm sure you're the same. You can spot an ad within the first 1 or 2 seconds of seeing it in your social media feed. That's what leads us into strategy number 1, and that is you need to create your content differently. Your customers are on every social media platform. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, and they're following their friends' content, they're following their brand's content. And they're there because they either want to be entertained or informed. They do not want to be sold to, which means we need to create content that feels native to that platform. It feels authentic, and it feels like something that someone actually wants to watch. And in order to do that, we need to make it feel more human. We need to make it feel less produced. It's a term that we like to use, which is called lo-fi content. So to win in this strategy and create content that is different to existing ads is you need to think lo-fi. You need to remove all the high production. You've got to remove all the fancy editing and the model shots and the curated sort of setups and things like that. You need to just grab a phone and you need to start recording, because the content that wins is the one that feels natural and native to the platform. Now, I've got a few ideas that you can do. Now, the strategies that we're seeing working is selfie style videos. They're the ones where it might be you just talking about your product directly to a phone. And that feels really natural because what do you see when you're on social media? You see your friends talking to phones or filming things with their phones. So you want your ad content to feel really native to that. The second one that's working really well is behind the scenes style content. So what you could do is just set up a tripod with a camera, maybe while you're packing orders, picking orders, doing things like that. Maybe while you're doing product testing, maybe while you're doing customer service, maybe while you're building stuff. People love to see behind the scenes. So just put a camera up behind you while you're doing your work. People are super interested to see behind a brand. The next one is similar to that, and it's called founder led. And you might see these things called founder stories. Now I'm going to give you a link to a whole heap of different ad creatives. You can find that down below. It's really cool. I've put in, say, 20 to 30 different style ads that you can just get inspiration from. But founder led stories are awesome. It's about you talking why you founded the brand, why you started it, why it's great, the problem you're overcoming, because people love to buy from people and they love to know who's behind the brand that they're supporting. Another type of content you could try is called EGC. This is employee generated content. This is where if you've got a team, you get your staff to either film you doing stuff or you film them doing stuff, and it's really authentic. authentic and useful, and people want to know that you've got a business behind you. EGC is awesome types of content. So there's a few different ideas that you can use. You just want to be different in your content, but the secret here is don't just rest on one or two different styles. You've got to be trying multiple different styles every single day, if not multiple times per day, because that leads in to strategy number 2. And this is finding content that works and then amplifying it across all channels. So let me show you what I mean. Let's just say you've got a piece of content that you've put out there and it's a video and it's getting lots of likes and it's getting lots of shares and it's getting lots of comments, okay? So let's just say that's what's happening in your business. So what this is telling us that this is a winning piece of content. People like it and people love it. And if that's happening, it means that the algorithm is really enjoying this content. And if the algorithm's enjoying the content, it means the audience is enjoying the content. So what we want to do is take this content and spread it out. So have a think about all the social media channels we have out there. We can spread it out to, say, Instagram if it's not there already. We can spread it out to TikTok. We can spread it out to Facebook. We can also spread it out to our website. We can also spread it out to, say, LinkedIn. We can spread it out to X. We could spread it out to emails. And you can see what's happening here. We're taking one piece of content that we know the audience loves and we're spreading it out and trying to take it to as many places as possible. And if you think about key platform risk, we don't have any platform risk here because it's going to every single platform. What we could do is we could turn this into an ad on Facebook, turn this into an ad on TikTok, turn it into an ad on Instagram. Hey, we could even put it over on YouTube and turn it into an ad on YouTube to go across to Google. And what we can see here is we now have one piece of content that spreads out across every single channel. It's a super powerful strategy and it's exactly what we're doing. Now we use a tool actually to do this for us because nobody got time to spread it and post it onto every single platform. We use a tool called repurpose.io. I put it down below. Be sure to use it. It's really cool. You just post it in one place, it picks it up and then spreads it out to every one of your social media platforms. The interesting thing about this strategy is content's going to perform differently on every different channel. Sometimes it's going to blow up on TikTok, sometimes it'll blow up on Instagram, but what we can then do is just amplify that via ads. So we've got great organic, great social, great paid. We're just basically going to be seen everywhere. And then this is what leads into strategy number 3, where we want to create a cult-like community. What we've seen in brands over the last 1 to 2 years is they build this cult-like following. I'm sure you've seen brands out there where just people talk about them, they love them, they even get tattoos or whatever it is about the brand. And that's because the brand builds this following of disciples. They build this following of people that just love it. And if you've got these raving fans and they're like a cult, they absolutely love you, they are not only just going to buy everything you give them, they're going to tell their friends about them. But where the power really lies is they're going to help you drive your business into the right direction. So some of the things that people do in this cult-like following is they build these private communities. Now, private communities can be built across a number of different places. You can use Instagram broadcast channels. You could use Facebook groups. You could create a Slack channel. You could create a WhatsApp group. You could use a school community. You could go into Discord. It doesn't really matter where you set it up. You want to set it up in a place where your target demographic, your audience is comfortable being. But the idea is you want to create this closed community where you can talk directly to your customers. You want to make sure that you can ask them questions, you can give them ideas, and where the power really is big on this one is market research. So you could pop up a new product and say, hey guys, what do you think about this? And this is actually something that we did on my coffee brand. We're looking at introducing new flavors into the coffee. So, you've got plain coffee, you could do vanilla, you can do caramel, you can do all these other sort of things, but we didn't know which flavor to go with first. So we spread it out to our community and we said, hey, we're thinking of A, B, C, tell us what you'd like to see first. And they voted, and now we know exactly what flavor we're going to do, which means it's reduced the risk in product development. We know that when we go to market, we're going to sell it. It's going to be great. The other thing about having a community is, imagine you have a sale or you have a deal. Why don't you give it to people who actually want to buy your product? You've released that to the community first, you let them get all the product, and then you release it to the public. If you can build this community, not only will that help you, throughout the year, but you can actually start compounding over time. So when we get to Q4 for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we can reach out to this community. We have these raving fans, we can sell to them, and it becomes exceptionally valuable. Okay, let's move on to strategy number 4. And that's where we lean into technology. Now, technology moves super fast. We all know that. But what we do know after testing in the last 1 or 2 years is that if you leverage new features of new platforms, you're going to be rewarded. So platforms are always testing and trialing different things. There used to be Instagram TV, then they've tried Threads. I'm not sure where that's going, but they're still trying all these different technologies. But what we do know is that if a platform launches a technology, they want people to use it. So what you want to do is every time platforms launch something, you've got to lean in towards it. You've got to keep using it and trialing it as quick as possible. Because if you're first to adapt to a new feature, you're going to be ahead of everybody else. You're going to know whether that feature works or whether the feature doesn't work. And that means that you're going to be at the forefront and you're going to get the most traction. You're also going to get the more support from that platform. So lean into new technologies. One of the new technologies that's coming up, I think is a key strategy, is more of this live selling element. We've talked a lot about it. We're seeing it in Asia. It's coming across the US. It's coming into Australia. But live selling creates to humanize the brand. So if we think about what we said earlier about creating different content, live selling is going to be one of those. And that's leaning into new tech. So as soon as a platform launches something like this, jump on board, get into live selling, getting people, then we can take that out, turn it into content, and then amplify that content. And then the third part about leaning into new tech is look at the trends that are happening on each platform. If we think about TikTok, trends like green screening, trends like following video trends, following, music trends, jumping on those have been really good. They might be short-term spikes, but it means that people are familiar with that. If they see your brand on it, they're like, hey, I can't believe that brand's doing that trend. And it really goes well. So lean into trends and their video, audio, visual, whatever you want it to be, but make sure you're leaning into trends to create that different sort of content. That leads me into strategy number 5, which is leveraging AI. And there's no sort of future predictions in marketing video if we don't talk about AI, but AI is changing everything. What you'll notice here is a lot of the suggestions that we make in strategy have all been around content. Now, this is where AI does all the technical work for you. If you think a few years ago, marketing strategies are all about having the right meta ad structure, getting your flows right, doing all this sort of stuff. But actually what it is now is about getting your content right, because the AI is looking after that structure and that tech side of thing. So all we want to be doing is feeding the AI with the right content so it can go out there and send it to the right people. So what we need to do here is leverage the ad platform's AI and let it do the job. So if we think about meta ads, we want to lean into Advantage Plus. We want to lean into flexible ads. If we're talking about Google, we want to lean into Performance Max. We want to lean into those sorts of things, give it the content, and let it get to work and do its job. The other thing about AI that we really love is tools like ChatGPT and Gemini and Claude, things like that, the ones that do the grunt work for you. Now, we've got an ultimate AI cheat sheet that I'm going to give you, but this is a really cool cheat sheet and I'll show you why. So we've put together a whole heap of different prompts, but the one that's really, really powerful when it comes to marketing is this monthly marketing and content planner prompt. And this is really, really cool because you use ChatGPT like they're your marketing partner. And what we can see here is we've got a prompt and it says things like act as a head of marketing for X type of brand who runs an e-commerce store that sells. So what we're doing here is we're setting up a prompt. We're training the AI to exactly who we want to sell to, what we sell, and why we sell it. The second thing we do is we tell them the marketing strategy that we want to employ and how we want them to think about it and what we want them to do. We talk about the topics and the themes and how often they're going to do it. We talk about results that we get. So we're really setting up the prompt. But this is where it really comes into play. And I'll show you sort of how this works. We actually ask them to create our plan for us based on what we need. In this instance, we're talking about email campaigns. We're talking about blogs. We're talking about Instagram and Facebook posts and SEO blogs. We're talking about TikTok videos. But what we do is we enter this directly into ChatGPT and it spits all this out for us. And then what we do is we pick that up and put it into a marketing template just like this one. Then what we do in Google Sheets, we paste it everywhere in here so we know exactly what's happening. We talk about our content, we talk about how we're going to do it. So we know day by day, week by week, month by month, exactly what we're doing. And AI has helped us to do that. Now, if you want a copy of this marketing template so you can match the prompts to this sheet, I've put it down below. So make sure you grab yourself a copy. Now, those 5 marketing strategies are all you're going to need right now to grow your business this year. So think about content, think about technology, think about standing out, think about using AI and leveraging it and making your store the absolute best store possible, standing out from the crowd. Now, obviously, these strategies are really, really going to help you get to where you want to get to in your online store. But if you did need some help, I do run a program which is called the Ecommerce Academy. You're more than welcome to join. I do have a link down below where you can put your details in, get mentored by me, get mentored by my team, and we can help implement these exact strategies directly into your business. But if you just want to hang out and binge on my YouTube, there's a couple of videos here that I think are going to be pretty useful in growing your e-commerce business.